Liverpool FC is hard as hell. United, Tottenham, Arsenal. Watch my lips, and I will spell. Cause they don't just play, but they can rap as well. Liverpool FC.
Yeah, my idea was to build Liverpool into a bastion of invincibility, you know, like... Napoleon had that idea, he would conquer the bloody world.
Yo, we're back again. It's the Anfield South podcast. From WhatsApp's a podcast. It's us guys again. Myself, the host, Slim. I'm in the building. With me today, we have Paul.
Back once again.
Sini.
Yes, people.
And the big man, Sam.
Yes, I'm here.
Alrighty then. Today, we have just watched Liverpool versus Cardiff. Final score, 4-1. Let's just dive straight into it, boys, man. Paul, what are your thoughts on today's game,
Well,
man?
you know my thoughts. We're really going to have a bit of an argument. I think it was a very good win. I've seen it in the media, some Liverpool media saying it was a laboured victory. That's the subheading in some of the articles. I think it was a very good victory, and I think there was lots of good football there.
Well, you're right. We are going to disagree a little bit because as much as the result was good and we scored 4 goals, for me, I'm just a bit like, we were just too slow in everything we did. Teams like this, we should be coming out of the blocks like Usain Bolt and just bang, 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 bang. Game is done in the first half because Cardiff did not come to play. They came to, minimise the damage. And I feel like we were just too slow out the blocks. We just passed the ball around at the back and just didn't really look to penetrate early and quick enough and get the ball into the front three quick enough. It was just, for me, it was too slow. Far too slow.
Do you know what, Slim? I agree with you on the first half showing. It was very slow. It was very laboured. There was no pace in the passing. But as I said in a previous podcast, I feel like we're containing ourselves and not going full pelt for 90 minutes anymore.
This is the problem though, Sam. It wasn't even a case of where there were sections where we were like, bang, bang, stop, bang, bang, stop. There was nothing. It was very flat. Everyone for me was taking that extra touch or that extra bit of time to... There was one instance in the first half where Wijnaldum had the ball for about 30 seconds.
Oh, Lord, not Winnie. Allow it, man.
No. Not in a bad way. Listen to what I'm saying. He had so much time. He looked out forward, didn't say anything. He looked left. And when I say look left, I mean turned his body with the ball left. Then he didn't say anything there, so he turned backwards. Look.
So
backwards.
was that his fault or was that the movement then? What are you saying?
Did he have options?
But that's my whole point.
Not enough options.
Not enough options. The movement, it all adds to the whole laboured.
Yeah. It was another new team today, another new setup. I think Lallana was kind of floating from the right. He was his first start at home for 18 months, I heard. I don't know if that's wrong.
Lallana.
Yeah,
let's move to Lallana in a minute.
Sini,
what are you saying about today's performance and the result in 2 separate entities?
I've got to say that the result is exactly what we want in terms of goals. We've been crying out saying that we've been kind of just winning games here and there, 1-0, 2-1, but that's the kind
Sign
of
the champions.
Yeah. Indeed.
Be easy, bro. Be easy.
Exactly.
I had to slip it in there, sorry.
When you ain't playing well, you got to win those games, and that's what we've been doing, albeit not in the swashbuckling style that we're used to. But I thought that getting 4 goals in the game is moving in the right direction, and we're seeing the front three getting involved in the goals again.
And so I'm gonna jump on you there. Like you said, scoring 4 goals is always good. Don't get me wrong, but if you look at when we scored the four goals, it was 2-1 up until like 10 minutes to go. So you got to think that whole period. There was a period of about 40 minutes or so where 35 minutes, where we didn't do anything. And it just so happens in the last 10 minutes we bagged 2 goals. So if you for me, the scoreline flatters us because we can perform better. Do you see what I mean? But I'm not knocking the fact that we scored 4 goals.
The argument came from the tagline laboured. So, okay, maybe it wasn't the greatest performance, but no way we laboured to that. We were
I think we did labour to it. I think we did labour to it, especially in the first half. The second goal was our first attempt on target.
Yeah, right.
Wait. No, I'm not having this.
No. It's a fact. It's a fact. I'm saying for the first half, we were slow, we were ponderous. We had 11 shots, 11 attempts. Yeah, and it was only 1-0. For me, that's a poor conversion rate straight away. Yeah, in the second half, we had that one strike that got to 2-0 and we all relaxed. We thought, okay, game over type of thing. But we weren't really trying to overexert ourselves and put enough pressure on Cardiff to actually make them fold.
There you go. So then that's not labouring. If you're not putting any effort in,
I don't know.
Where's the labour?
I don't know whether we weren't putting the effort in or we were labouring. Because
I think it's what you said before. I don't think it's laboured. I think that, okay, we weren't as smooth as we could have been, but we took the lead in the 10th minute of the game. Right?
So we all subconsciously, we were like, goals. We're thinking that it was going to rain on them.
That's fair enough. But we've got that issue at the moment with the bit of slackness. And we talked about it before.
You know what? I'm going to cut you right there. Slackness. And that's why I see it as slightly...
But that's why I agree with you.
It's Cardiff. They're giving us the ball. We got loads of time, whatever. We'll just do what we need to do. Them teams there, I want to see us killing them off.
Slim, when have we not been slack this season for large parts of games? It's a weird one. We're happy. We're top of the league.
Do you know
we
what?
Look strong.
If you want to be,
but we're slack.
Being slack's never acceptable. But if you're going to be slack, at least can we be 2-3 goals up before you start being slack? Not just at the start of a game. You're slack. You know what I'm saying?
I hear that. Right, let me give you a different outlook on it. Right. Normally, what we're used to is when we play these teams is when we normally give up points, and it's normally when we lose, and then we play a big team, and then we put on the show that everyone wants to see. And that's been the case for years now. We're used to it. We can't overcome the small teams, and that's where we win the league. But what we're doing differently now is, I think the mentality is still going to be there because we've had it for so much years, but it looks like we're evolving that mentality. In terms of we're winning the games, but I think the mentality is still, you're a small team, so I'm not fully going to go at it. But we're getting the result. I think we should be happy because it's an evolution. And I think if we do continue doing this against the small teams, I will forever be happy because we've played 2 big teams and we've got good results in them 2 games.
Yeah, we have.
Like we mentioned, exactly. we feel like we're saving ourselves. Yeah, we feel like we're actually saving ourselves, and to do that against Cardiff, that's fine for me. I feel like we subconsciously think that when we're going to play these teams, we're going to just hammer them. And that's not us this season. No. We've seen it a few times now.
And apart from
we're not going to go full pelt for 90 minutes against these smaller teams if we don't have to. And although it is laboured and it is not as exciting for us to watch, we're sitting here arguing over a 4-1 win, which takes us to the top of the league. And realistically, we should be okay with that. But I do understand where you're coming from, Slim, because you're upset that we should be actually just battering these teams and taking them out.
It's not so much battering the teams,
not in terms of scorelines, but in terms of performance.
If we play well and we only win 1-0, then I'm happy because we've got the performance as well as the result. And I'm happy we got the result, but I want to see the performance because I want to know that we're at a certain level of performance at this part of the season.
But we're not yet. We're not, and we know this, bro.
And a lot of people, and I've said it before, it's dangerous when we kick into gear, but I'm starting to get slightly nervous, man.
I think we kicked into gear today. I think that after Wednesday, and obviously when Shaqiri came in, because he can be added to the context that he was on the pitch, and that was basically our best team, looks like our best team when he's on the pitch. And the goals we scored at the end were beautiful. Salah into Shaqiri, a little hesitation, put him on his arse and then put it in, and then the goal at the end, Salah and Mane at last.
That was last season at Liverpool. Do
you know what I mean? And then we talk about Salah sometimes can be a bit, is he a bit brutish sometimes? There was his technique with the clip over the goalie.
Well, let's talk about the lineup.
Brutish. Yeah. Where you going with this ball?
Well, with the first goal. He lamped it.
Well, it's true. Yeah. He's got subtlety and he's got finesse and he's got power. I like that.
The first goal, he had to lamp it because there was people coming right across the goal in it, so he needed to put the power in it. Otherwise, they probably would have stopped it on the line. While we're talking about Salah and his power, that guy needs to get in the gym a little bit and get on the legs because have you seen his corners? Have you seen the corners he takes recently? I'm sorry.
That's technique. That's technique.
Yeah, but seriously, look how much the guy's getting paid. All he does is play football, but he can't seem to deliver a corner.
Well, Sam was saying on the way up here that he liked to see Salah put his foot through the ball. Sometimes people haven't got the techers. My brother-in-law, when he was 13, 14, he played against David Beckham a few times. Yeah. And he was saying Beckham at that time, he probably had a body of an 11-year-old. Wow. He was scoring from 30 yards. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Pure technique. Cut across the ball.
Yeah. I feel like Salah don't have the power in his foot, but I do digress. Let's talk about the lineup today. I mean, we started with our favourite left back, Moreno.
Shout out to Chris.
He's probably still hiding under his covers. and we had Van Dijk and Lovren at centre-back pairing, and then Alexander-Arnold at right-back, and he went with Wijnaldum, Fabinho and Lallana, and then he went with the Fab Three, as they've been known to be called. Mm-hmm. What are we thinking about that lineup today?
Can I say one thing first? What's clever about Klopp at the moment with this lineup business is that no one knows where anyone's playing, which is good. So the opposition can't work it out. I understand when I watched the game on Wednesday, my understanding was that Firmino was up front. Shaqiri was behind him and Salah was on the right. Only during the game I was like, nah, that's not working out. When I saw the actual, at the end, actually it was Shaqiri on the right and Salah up front. Yeah. Again today, I think Lallana was actually on the right.
He was the right of the three, wasn't he?
No, he wasn't actually.
Right the front three.
Right, exactly, behind.
And Firmino was kind of slightly a centre midfielder, number 10-y type role, but he did drop in a little bit.
I think it makes us more fluid.
But anyway, formation, we'll get to formation, just personnel-wise.
Personnel-wise, to be honest, as soon as I saw the lineup, I put it in the group, I said, we're going to concede today. Because you can't start with Lovren and Chris's guy, Moreno. It was going to be an issue. And to be fair, I'm not overly upset about it. I know you wanted that clean sheet, Slim, but I'd rather have conceded today than next week against Arsenal. Because this long run of not conceding a goal at Anfield was going to come to an end. And not conceding a goal full stop.
I don't like them
in a meaningless game. Yeah, I hate them when they talk about them in the game. But to have it today, I'm not overly upset about it because it didn't affect the result. But in a way, it's like we're proving that we can win these games with lesser personnel. And what was Klopp doing? Was he thinking ahead and thinking about the two games we've got? We've got Arsenal coming up. And he's given Gomez a full rest. So realistically, we're hoping that Gomez should come back in next week. Yeah. I wasn't too sure about...
Sorry to cut you, Sam. Is he looking to the Arsenal game or looking to the Red Star game? Because if we put Red Star to bed next week...
But that's after.
It's after,
That's the following week. That's not this week. Yeah, we've got a full week's training.
Yeah, we've got Arsenal.
With that in mind as well, I was thinking, well, why did he bring Lallana in? At first, I was thinking, he's saving Shaqiri for the midweek, but it's not till next week. Yeah. And for me, Lallana, again, he showed he's one of Klopp's favourites. Klopp likes him. But I just don't understand what his purpose is anymore.
Do you know what? Amen.
You know, I'm not gunning him. I just don't know what his purpose is. Because he has so many positions in the team. And last season and season before, all he was the front pressing midfielder. That's it. He was the one that sparked it. He was the trigger. Yeah. And now, because he's not doing that, because athletically he doesn't look like he can anymore through the injuries.
He does look a bit laboured.
There you go.
He definitely looks laboured.
He does look a bit laboured.
Yeah. Because he can't do it anymore, I'm thinking, what is his role in the team?
And what's his purpose when we've got a lot of possession now, even against top sides? We're not counter-attacking anymore. We're quite controlling. It's confident.
And to be fair, the what really kind of woke me up to it was as soon as Shaqiri came on, the difference in the team when he took Lallana off, and I was like, oh, this is not looking good for him at all.
You know what, Sini? I personally feel this is Lallana's last season. What are you thinking about it?
I definitely think it's his last season, and if he carries on with this, will be his last games too. Because he just doesn't look like the same player he used to be at all. He looks slow. And I always looked at him before. I thought, he could do something. One of those players that's a bit creative and inventive, and he could do a little turn and do something different that someone's not expecting. But it looks like all of the confidence has been sucked out of him, and it can happen if you're constantly getting injured and you're constantly on the sideline and you're watching your team do well. You start to doubt yourself, and then when you come in, you're only getting minutes here and there. You're not getting the full 90. You're not going to get that anymore. And I think it's a tough challenge for him. And I think realistically now, the direction that we're moving in, we've outgrown him.
That's an elegant way to put it. To be fair, I wouldn't have put it so elegantly.
I wasn't that pleased to see him on the team sheet today. But again,
because we were so excited for Shaqiri's performance. And during the week, we were like, we can't wait for this guy to start in the Premier League game. But he just Klopp never fails to surprise me, because when the team lineup first came out, I think the wrong one was tweeted in the group. And James was excited. He was like, "Raw, the same team." And then we saw it and was like, "Raw, where's Robertson? Where's Shaqiri?" You know what I mean?
If we analyse Lallana today, so he's getting into positions on the ball, say like between the lines, etc. One time, Mane gave him the ball in the second half, and he had an opportunity to drive at the centre backs. And then he had at least 2 or 3 ahead of him. They would have split. Space would have been open. He could have actually got driven through or played a through ball. He doesn't play those passes. In the end, he had Ronaldo on his right shoulder probably calling for the ball and running past him. So he gave it to him, literally 2 yards ahead of him. It was a lame, safe pass.
Like Cindy said, he's not as fit as what he was, because if you go to the game in midweek, he had that. Was it midweek? We had that one-on-one chance.
That was horrible to watch.
That was like part of football, wasn't it? Yeah.
He was
Horrible to watch.
Going towards the goal, and you just knew he weren't going to finish that. And
okay, so does that mean that we're being harsh? Because if that's pure fitness, that was his first start for 18 months at home.
Do you know what?
Should we give him another month?
Maybe we are being harsh. Maybe his fitness levels aren't quite there, and only match minutes are going to give him that fitness. So
But you realise his fitness was what got him into the team before.
It's true.
It wasn't his end product. It wasn't what he was doing for the actual team. It was his fitness because he was the main presser.
So if he hasn't got that,
what's he got? It's like he's licked 30, and the injuries have taken a toll. It's happened, bang, right at the same time. At the time when we're trying to kick on, and so what you're saying for me is bang on. We are. Either we are outgrowing him or it's done already. And Klopp foresaw this, and that's why he was looking for Fekir.
And what else he needs to do if he wants to get this extra contract, or especially get the fans on side, because obviously with the birth of social media, the players will see this as well. And I know the managers sometimes react to this stuff. Henderson's cuss sometimes for passing it back. Ronaldo's cuss for being safe, and we've got Lallana who's cuss for twisting in and out.
Yeah,
And he done it today again. He done it today. So if he wants to get people on side, I think he needs to start showing something different and new.
When Lallana first came in, I was so excited. I was like, a midfielder with 2 feet. Because there's not a lot of 2-footed midfielders out there that well.
Fully.
You know what I mean? But he can use both feet, and I was excited, and I just feel like it's a shame to see where he is now.
But look at Sturridge.
He's been reborn, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He has been reborn. Could it be the same?
And in the day,
Lallana's hit 30 already, though.
And Klopp has got that psychology. He practices team spirit. He practices loyalty. You can't say to Lallana, go and train with the reserves or freeze him out. He is on paper. He's still on paper. He's Adam Lallana. Do you know what I mean? He's going to be ahead of Curtis Jones for now, isn't he?
The big problem that I think is that we have is because we know what he can do, and we've seen what he can do, and now that you're not doing it anymore, it becomes a problem. And the best analogy that I use for that is a shy stripper. Basically, it's having all the attributes, but when it's time to show, you're scared to perform, and that's what it comes across as.
Oh, do you know what? That sounds like a certain midfielder as well.
Oh yeah, let's not do that. Let's not go there. Let's not go there. Anyway, lads, we've had our feeling, Lallana. Let's look into the rest of the team today. We all get a little bit nervous when we see Dejan in the back four, but I thought he didn't do too badly today. I thought he done all right today. I thought he was pretty solid next to Virgil. The goal actually came from Moreno's side, and then a little
deflection
off EVD. But I thought Lovren, he won everything he needed to win, and he didn't really put a foot wrong.
One tackle today in the second half. I don't know, it was quite early in the second half where he just decided to dive into someone. When I think Fabinho or Ronaldo was quite close to him anyway, and sort of shepherded him away. The guy was miles from goal, and he's just come storming in and just. That's his usual, and the problem with that is it leads to set pieces, and
he's
it's like he wants
undoubtedly
something to do.
won a game every game. Yeah. He's going to clean someone out when the ball's not attainable. He can't help it. You can see him calculating. I can get it. I can make it.
Yeah.
And everybody knows he can't. And then he cleans the player out, and then, as you said, we're under pressure from a set play. I don't know if it's a lack of intelligence or he feels like he's got something to prove, especially standing next to Virgil. But he really needs to stop it. Because it just makes me nervous, and I'm not about it. Yeah, no.
But luckily, I mean, we were talking about waiting for us to click and go out and smash teams. I think Klopp's obviously said to the boys as well, take it easy this season. There's a bit of caution to our play.
I'm telling you, bro.
Which is nothing wrong with it. We don't concede goals, and with Ronaldo as well, we're saying he's not pushing forward, but he is good at winning the ball back now, isn't he? He's getting second balls, etc. Fabinho's had a good week, and that line in front of the defence is looking quite strong, isn't it?
Well,
Fabinho deserves a big mention today.
Just coming on to Fabinho, let's pick up on the Fabinho thing, because he started at Red Star in the week, and I personally think he had a great performance. There was 1 or 2 times he was a bit late to get there, but other than that, I think he had a great great performance. And then he started obviously again today, and I didn't really see him put a foot wrong. He drives forward with the ball. You can see a pass. Does the introduction of Fabs, as we like to call him in the group, mean the end for our captain, Henderson?
Yeah, I guess, yeah, because when I sort of judge a player as a first teamer against a squad player, I think I have a dream of, if it's a Champions League final tomorrow, would he be in a team? And right now it's got to be Fabinho. And Henderson's not going to play ahead of Fabinho. We've got, Ronaldo can do that. Shaqiri can do that. We've got boys who can do that now. Fabinho was excellent today as well. He can break forward. He looks like he's got skills. He passes it forward a lot.
Yeah, he does.
He will turn on the sixpence if he needs to. Instead of passing it back if he needs to.
He comes to receive the ball from the back four, and he will turn with the ball, which I think we've been missing for a long time in that defensive midfield position.
And he reminded me of Chan in his better times. That big stride to eat up the. When he gets more confidence, he's going to be attacking threat. Anyway, there's number sixes. Remember Kante, who can cover their ground but support the attack as well. But he was bursting through. I think he won the first tackle. Then he was bursting through the centre circle, and because he's obviously still quite new and shy, he gave it to Firmino, who was 2 yards ahead of him. But they both had 20 yards to run into. He should have been like, out the way, I'm going forwards, make a run, and then I'll pass it to you in a more advanced position. He looks magnificent.
He does. He does.
And I don't care it was Red Star. And that sometimes we've laboured before against weak teams, and he done well this week. I really like him.
But even so, as much as that was a good eulogy, not eulogy, what's the words I'm looking for? Anyway, that was Ask my question. You saying this is the end?
I think so.
To summarise, Paul, Henderson's done.
Well, no, I did say, if it was because if it's a big game, like this is Tottenham away. Next, is it away? No,
Arsenal away.
Yeah. It's got to be Fabinho, and you can't play Henderson ahead of him. And I remember one of the press conferences when we bought him, and they're like, "Where are you going to play him? What about Henderson? Is this the Henderson?" I'm sure they asked him in August. It was like, Henderson could play 6 or 8, and Fabinho could play 6 or 8. No, they're not. We've got other players. You know what I mean? They'll be one or the other.
I think what's hard to watch for Henderson on the sidelines is he kind of. Watching Fabinho makes probably Henderson realise how limited he is in that role. I'm not saying he's limited in every role he plays, but where he plays for us, he's very, very limited because Fabinho does everything as a 6 that Henderson should be able to do. I've seen him switch the play. I've seen him drive with the ball. I've seen him put his foot in. I've seen him get back. I've seen him try to thread a ball. You know what I mean? And when Henderson's playing for us, we see the opportunities for him to do that, and we see that his mind is calculating. He's like, nah. I can't do it. Whereas Fabinho's instinctive. And that's great to see. And especially from a defensive midfielder that can carry the ball forward and get back, it puts a lot of emphasis on how limited Henderson is in that role. And I feel not sorry for him, but it is the beginning of the end.
It's happening gradually, but this is what we all said it would be. But obviously we thought Keita would walk in and be, Michel Platini. It hasn't worked like that. You know what I mean? He's still growing, but Henderson, it's not the end for Henderson. Like Henderson, this is my chance to say a bit of Henderson before I missed out some of the podcasts, right? When you've got a big game, first hour of a game, Henderson is brilliant, especially when we're at home, because he's got a really good mentality, and he can, when he's at his best, even in a 6, he can press, he can guess where to press, and then sometimes he runs past the 2 midfielders ahead of him and wins the ball, and then he can switch a ball. Do you know what I mean? And he can play it quick, and he's got a good. But after an hour, when we might be 1 or 2 up, his mentality goes, and he gets scared, and that's when he starts passing the ball back. That's when he starts firing the ball back to his goalie, and then we start conceding corners. That means you can see possession, and that's when it goes to pot. Do you know what I mean? So he's still got a part to play, but Fabinho's the man.
Well, I guess so, and I think. For Henderson, his name is changing now to Hen Done.
Finish up.
It's over.
Oh,
the introduction of Fabinho definitely means it's the end for him, because this sideways and first time pass back to Alisson, and then come and collect it again and back out to Trent and then let me have it back out to...
It's boring.
And the wild screaming as well.
Basic.
Shouting at everyone, looking like you're looking important.
Basic, so basic. And this is our captain we're talking about. And I think we've been sport with some captains that we've seen. I don't want to mention him, but it's Stevie G. Do you know what I mean? Taking over the armband for Stevie G, and I think we were spoiled.
Yeah, it's big shoes to fill.
Talking of captaincy, interesting seeing that article in the week about Klopp letting the players vote for the third, fourth captains. Interesting who came out of that.
Indeed, very,
not so much Virgil. I mean, that was a no-brainer, but the players obviously they rate Wijnaldum.
It was said that the players obviously selected Virgil and Wijnaldum for captains. So that was a player's choice. So hence we saw like Virgil captain today. That is quite interesting that they picked it. I mean, what can we read into those?
I don't know.
That they appreciate the work that Wijnaldum does and that they see him as a leader. And that's a question. That's a question because we don't really, but they respect him enough to.
This is the thing. We sit here and we're sitting here right now, like discussing the games and stuff, but we don't get to see what goes on behind closed doors. So
true.
As much as we might dislike how a player plays on the pitch or what certain things that he does, what he is in the dressing room and on the training ground is a whole different ball game. So like you said, the question, Wijnaldum a leader, do you know what I mean? We don't even need to talk about Virgil. We know he's a leader. We know what he brings to the team as a captain. And you know, if I ask all of you now who should be our captain, I reckon all four of us would say Virgil. Let's not say we won't even go into that. But the Wijnaldum one was a surprise, man.
Very surprising.
I mean, who would you have picked outside of Van Dijk and obviously Hendo and Millie? Who would you pick for a captain or vice captain?
Oh, that's a tough one.
It's big.
Do you know who would have expected to have been picked?
Go on.
Lovren.
Absolutely. Yeah. He's the best defender in the world, isn't he?
He's probably sitting there thinking, what the fuck?
Yeah. Haters gonna hate.
Bratty, what do I got to do? It's mad. Do you know what? If I had to pick a captain, I think I'd actually pick Firmino. Because for me, Firmino is more the Gerrard mould of captain in the sense that Gerrard was never a screamer. He wasn't necessarily a big talker, although he could have words with you and inspire you. Yeah. He was a show leader by example. And Firmino's example for me is perfect.
It's a good shot, man.
His endeavour, the willingness to defend, to get up and down the pitch, play in any position across the front.
It's a good shout.
Yeah. So I'd pick Firmino.
I think another interesting shout is Robinson. Because although he's new to the team,
he's Scotland captain.
It's the whole aura, what he represents, and how he conducts himself on and off the field. He's nearly in the same mould as James Milner in terms of his professionalism. He's a no frills footballer, but you know exactly what you're going to get out of every game.
I was going to say he's more of a Carragher type.
Exactly. Carragher, Milner. Obviously, Carragher's a bit more outspoken than Milner, but in terms of professionalism, the way they conduct themselves on the field, the way they conduct themselves off the field, the amount of effort that they put into games. I think he's definitely one of those that leads by example in terms of the characteristics you'd want to see a footballer display.
Do you know what? This is actually awesome, because it's only a couple of years ago we used to look at the team and think we don't have any leaders.
Yeah, indeed.
And now we're looking around the pitch thinking, wow, got 11 leaders.
Robertson is the Scotland captain now as well.
Yeah.
See?
Do you know what I mean?
We've got a few international captains.
That's the result of what he's done for us, I think.
Well, back to Ronaldo, I think it was the Red Star game, he was like accompanying Klopp for the press conference, Champions League.
Okay.
Maybe something's changed there. Maybe his personality.
Bit of seniority within the squad, I don't know.
Remember that picture on Instagram of him and his family in Dubai? We're like, that's a nice family.
Yeah.
Maybe that's coming through. Maybe he's a bit of a father figure to people. He's 27.
His kids took over his Instagram live the other day, and that was quite entertaining to be fair.
Okay, cool.
So like you said, a bit of the father figure and things like that. It's interesting that they pick Ronaldo, to be fair. But
damn, I wish Ryan was here.
Yeah, I know.
Just to give an alternative view, because we're seeing a different side to Ronaldo now.
Well, everybody, seeing as we're on the subject of Ronaldo, bloody hell, like. In the group, we have the thing about Wijnaldum and he's the same as Henderson, he goes sideways, whatever. But when you read, if you've never watched a Liverpool game, if you never watched the game today and you read what the press write about how Wijnaldum plays, you'd think he was excellent. So surely, I know it's the press, it's the papers, it's all of that kind of, I get that, but surely we're missing something. If they keep writing him and commentators keep saying it, Wijnaldum's integral to how Klopp wants to play, blah blah blah. Surely, then
we're wrong.
We must be wrong. We have to sit back and think like, well, maybe we are missing something.
What are we asking for? Sorry, what are we asking for? All we're asking for from him, or I'm asking for, is that when he sees an opportunity to attack a space, attack it.
That's it, you know?
That's all.
In a nutshell, that's all. Yeah. That's all, because the position he's playing, that's the only thing he's really missing, because it looks...
But what position is he playing, first and foremost?
Well, this week we played 4-2-3-1 both times, haven't we?
Double pivot. Last couple of weeks.
2 holders,
or last week, yeah.
2 holders. So if he's in a holder position, is his job to attack space?
It is if he's not alongside another 6 that attacks the space for him. Because alongside Fabinho attacks the space.
Okay, but when Fabinho attacks the space, someone's got to stay.
Yeah, that's fine.
But that's the whole point. If he's there with Henderson's not attacking the space. So it should be Wijnaldum who's doing that.
That's fine.
Yeah, and that's what we don't see when they play together. And we're like, well, why are they both sitting? Why are they both appearing to be scared? You see, that's why when I said in the group the other day that Wijnaldum complements the way Fabinho goes forward naturally, it makes sense to me, because the rest of the other midfielders, they don't do that naturally. They don't follow their pass. Fabinho, if you watch him, every time he plays the ball, he follows his pass and he makes another angle. Whereas Henderson doesn't do that naturally. Milner doesn't really play the 6 as much. And so realistically, if you've got one guy that's chasing his pass and giving other angles, you need someone to sit.
I don't think he chases every pass.
He does.
I watched him today. He didn't chase every pass.
He does it a lot naturally. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
For a DM, I do like that about him.
Yeah.
You know, it's not normal, but it's different to the rest of the midfielders we have.
But regardless, it doesn't matter where you play on the pitch. Yeah. Apart from the goalie.
I'm sure Alisson probably...
Shout out to Alisson at Leicester. If you're on the ball and there's a space, you attack it.
Yeah.
Or move into it. Sometimes he just stands there. Do you know what I mean? Or pass through the lines. He's got the ability. If he's playing a double pivot and he gets the ball and he sees a space to run 7 yards, run the 7 yards. Fabinho's not going to run next to you, holding your hand. He's going to stay there. You've got a forward defence.
Taking responsibility over...
He knows it. Look, this is... Social media's changed football,
or he's
right?
been told
We're doing this podcast because we have opinions, yeah? There's people like... We've got... shout out to all the other, famous podcasts and TV shows for fans, yeah? Football's not rocket science. This is easy stuff, yeah? And it's kind of obvious as well. We're not wrong. We're like part of 2 or 3 million people, I reckon, around the world who say Ronaldo should take more responsibility and get on the ball.
Fair enough.
I think it's similar to... Do you remember when Heskey used to play and everyone used to say, what's the point of Heskey? But the players always used to love him. Yeah. And the manager always would used to pick him for England, etc.
Yeah.
And they'd be like...
Heskey was on that slavery thing, though. I mean...
This is a similar thing, because nobody else could see what he brought to the team, but the players loved him and adored him. It's like, he does so much, he creates this, he does this. And I think we're in the same... This is what it reminds me of, because we're looking at him and I can't see it personally. And I couldn't see it with Heskey. It was obvious what Heskey done. Flicked the ball on and was supposed to be up there as a unit. and Wijnaldum clearly passes the ball sideways and backwards, so I can see that he does that. But isn't anything else? I'm struggling to see it. I'm struggling to see it.
See his face, though.
You know what? Yeah.
That Heskey and Andrew's
shout out to the
fantastic.
next podcast, which fingers crossed is going to be visual, because some of these facial expressions they have to be seen by the masses.
He was right though.
Yeah, but what I mean is with Wijnaldum, isn't his job to keep it going? Isn't that?
You mean the prompting and passing?
The attacks,
fine.
To keep the ball moving, and give it to whoever to do whatever they need to do with it. You look at Wijnaldum, he protects the ball well, he gets back and fills spaces very well. So that's what he's there to do: break up the play, win the ball, and keep it moving.
I think he's doing that.
He is. So if he's doing that, then we need to bear in mind what his job is. And as much as we'd like him to do certain things, it's not his job.
Okay, how about this then? Yeah, when I do my homework with my kids, and they go, I go, well, you've done 3 questions. They say, yeah, the teacher said I should do 3 questions. I say, well, you can do more than 3. It says 3 minimum. Do you know what I mean? So Ronaldo could do more than just pass it left and right, which is great.
Well, maybe he failed his maths, okay? right? Maybe he didn't do too well in school, okay? And he doesn't know how far 7 yards is. These math questions in his kids. Yeah, I don't know. No,
He could do more.
No, I fully appreciate what you're saying, Paul. He could do more, but I don't know.
Or you say we're too hard. Then maybe we're too hard on him. I will agree that. Then.
Yeah, but that's because we know what he can do.
We are too hard.
I think we are different because we know he can do it. He did it for Holland a few weeks ago in the international break, didn't he? He scored the goal. Scored a great goal. Yeah, so he was up in the box.
When we scored today, Salah scored the first goal. Mane had a good old swivel to get onto his left foot and bash it against the defender. Yeah. Ball came to Ronaldo. You got to put your foot through it. That's what we're talking about.
Tentative.
Fans.
He's tentative. That's the word.
And it's kind of like, you know what I mean? And then Salah was like, I'll show you how to do it. Mane and Salah blasted it, and he tapped his one. How about that?
All right, okay. Well, let's leave Ronaldo. Let's go back.
Big up Winnie though.
Yeah,
he's having a good season.
Played well today.
Long may it continue.
Yeah, exactly.
Long may it continue. All right, as long as we agreed on that. Yeah, I mean,
El Capo.
Yeah, fuck off, right? Right, back to the Red Star game. Yeah, 4-0. Good result. Scorers were Mane, Firmino, Salah got 2. It was nice to see the front three all be on the score sheet at the same time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. For that game, we went for a 4-2-3-1 type formation. The question posed is, do you think that formation is our Champions League formation? And will that formation allow for a more fluid attack to allow the front three to get on the score sheet like they did?
Yeah, I think it's our formation when we play any teams that are going to try and camp behind the ball and not offer anything. To be fair, Red Star did actually surprise me because they looked like they did try to come to play, which actually caught me off guard in the beginning, and I was thinking, hang on a second, I don't think the boys expected that. But in terms of when we play lesser teams, that's the type of lineup I expect. I want Shaqiri in that hole behind the front three because you can see, look at the ball he played through for the first goal. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And it's exactly things like that the front three thrive off, and I think they've been starved of that sort of
service,
supply and service. Yeah, they've been starved. And then everybody's
Brazilian left.
Don't say his name. Don't say it.
Ox got injured.
Yeah. Wow, the Ox being injured as well. But you're right, Sini. You're right.
Starved of the supply, and then everybody turns around and says, "How come they're not doing this? How come they're not doing that?" Etc. But they're runners. All three of them. They're
from inside, from outside to in, and things like that.
And they need the supply. They need to eat. They need to eat.
Yeah.
Put it on the plate. Let them eat.
I would play that formation even if Shaqiri was injured, and it was what Sini said. That scenario of needing goals or to break teams down. That's when Lallana might be able to be a bit free. We know Firmino can play behind. We've got other options to play that formation. I like it.
Yeah, that was a good formation. It was a good game, and for me personally, I don't really have much to say on that game because I'll be honest with you, I expected a good result.
Yes,
I didn't expect anything less. I mean, it sounds kind of arrogant, but when the first couple goals went in, when any of the goals went in, I weren't really hard celebrating because it's what I expected. Like where we've got to now with Klopp at the helm, it's mad, and I feel like an absolute tosspot for saying it. I fully expected these teams to be put to bed. I don't expect anything less.
It's not arrogance. It's not arrogance. It's just that we're at a place now where we kind of know what to expect.
Yeah.
And if we're not getting that, that's when we start to think, well, what's happened here? What's wrong with the formation? What's wrong with the boys that are playing today? But it's becoming natural, and that's a good place for us to be in, especially as 10 games into the league season, we've not really put together a run where we've been hitting teams 3-4, 5-0 in consistent games, and we've been stuttering through our performances. So, like you say, I mean, the Red Star game, it was weird. Like you're sitting there watching the game and the goals are going in and you're just not as hyped as you would be. It's like when Sturridge scored that equaliser against Chelsea, I was a monkey in my room jumping around like a maniac.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, but for these goals, I was like, okay, it wasn't anything to be excited about. Maybe it was the opposition, maybe it was just the expectation, but we're at that point now, and that's a real good place for us to be.
I was happy about it.
Were you?
Yeah, I was really enthused because we did, especially like I shout out to people who actually go to the matches. I'm a bit of African tight ass, but I will be going. But I've got used to watchers now on that lush pitch on TV and HD, and we just seem slick. Yeah. We look like even we're talking about the franchise and stuff and kits and stuff in the new stadium. We look good. We look good as a product. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And it was back. I thought like the passing was crisp. Salah scoring 2. Do you know what I mean?
I think
was good.
that was quite.
It's important, isn't it?
Very.
And then to score 4 in itself.
Yeah.
And to score 4 in itself, and that's 8 in 2. That's 8 now, isn't it? In a week.
Let's hope this is the catalyst for us to start playing a bit more free-flowing football and get a few more goals. Starting with next week.
Sturridge. Any thoughts on Sturridge? His cameo.
But the thing is, Sturridge coming on, I'm just calling this the run seal, man. He's just doing what he says on the tin.
It's just a shame he doesn't seem to be able to do it from the start.
Do you know what? But I've said it before. I'm all right with that because
I think he's all right with it too.
He's all right with it.
I think every great
Yeah.
team needs a super sub, someone who's capable to come off the bench with 10 minutes to go, 15 minutes to go, and change the game or do something magical like he done against Chelsea. So, but I'm not. Sturridge is playing well.
Yeah.
He's not had as many minutes as the front three, but for me, he's playing as well as the front three.
Yeah,
So
I agree with that.
I got
And
nothing
he's
but praise
contributing.
for-
He's really
he
contributing.
Really is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like he's happy to do it. And I think that I've said it before in previous podcasts. We have never, as Liverpool, been able to keep quality on the bench,
Yeah.
and we're keeping a quality striker on the bench. That's invaluable to me, mate. Do you know what I mean? So big up Studs. You know what I mean? Every time, just doing what he's supposed to do. But I just want to touch on what I was saying there, and you were saying, Sam, about we didn't really celebrate for the goals. Now, midweek Red Star Salah celebration. There's been a lot said amongst us about his lack of celebration. Sini, what do you reckon we put that down to?
I don't know, but I do think that Salah's got a bit of hidden arrogance because he comes across portrayed in the media as Mr. Quiet, keeps himself to himself, very humble. But I think towards the end of last season, we started to see a bit more from Salah when it got to the point of when they gave Harry Kane the goals and you saw him tweet against that and stuff. You started to see there's a little bit of arrogance about him and he's actually a bit more outspoken than what he lets on. And then also the whole thing with him in Egypt is he wants to be separate away from fans and doesn't want fans coming to him, etc. All of these little things that he wants. I think he's got some hidden arrogance, and I think the start of the season, because he wasn't notching, everybody's immediately thinks that he's a one season wonder, and they quickly want to pull you down because that's what they do. They put you up and they pull you down. I think he's probably just got to his head a bit because I don't think he's ignoring what's going on in terms of the reports and what people are saying about him.
We spoke about it on the way up here. We were saying that it almost seems like a negative reaction towards the press and everything that's been said about him. It's not about his team or his happiness at Liverpool or anything like that. It's almost like a fuck you to the press to say, well, yeah, I can still score. I'm still a player. I wasn't a one season wonder. And although it doesn't look great to us, I haven't seen anything overly negative about his body language other than the celebrations, and he's still playing his heart out. I think, Paul, you disagreed with what you saw today. I didn't see it, but you got to kind of fill me in on what you felt was negative about the way he was carrying himself.
Yeah, well, going back to the original about the body language of the goals, like a celebration, it could be anything, I guess, with that. You're not too sure. Someone said he was just being humble because he knew he's got to the 50, didn't he? So it was just
why be humble? You should over-celebrate that.
That's an achievement.
Yeah.
He's done it quicker than 50 goals in 65 goals.
That's ridiculous.
That's verging on one in one. Like, you know,
Statistics.
You should actually be jumping like for joy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
but do you know what? Maybe that is why he didn't celebrate it. It was like, well, look at my stats.
yeah.
And you guys are still questioning
He
it.
has been taking a bit of stick for it, innit? You know what I mean?
Because really, those are Ronaldo type stats. But Ronaldo's done it for obviously 7, 8, 9 years.
Yeah.
But that kind of ratio is crazy. So he's probably looking and thinking, how can you question me?
Well, did you see his interview after the game? Like
Yeah.
Saying, people were saying.
And he was like, who?
Yeah, like who? Like, is it to say who's been saying these things about me? You know, like who wants it? You know what I mean?
That is a little bit of arrogance there in that as well.
It is a bit of arrogance. So
Look, do you know
that
what?
was at the beginning of the season, though. Was it been recent, the criticism?
Yeah, no, it's been all through.
No, it's been all through.
Since we started, because he hasn't. But the thing is, if you look at his stats are pretty similar to last season.
Yeah.
So,
Do you not remember us last season? I think it was the Leicester game where he scored a header from a Coots. Coots cross, and he missed about 2 open goals. And we were complaining about how many chances he misses.
Yeah.
But we didn't realise at the time he's always getting in the position to miss those chances.
Which is what they said.
And now it's exactly the same thing this season.
Yeah.
We've got the expectation of him getting 40-odd goals, which, let's be honest, if he gets 30 this season, I'm happy.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm happy.
But then he's taken a lot of he's taken too many things on personally then, because I saw the stat you put on WhatsApp, isn't it? And I sort of hit back straight away saying, oh, okay, the stats are similar in terms of goals, but stats were kind of misleading. So we've all said that they haven't gelled. We want more. We want more. We want the goals.
Yeah.
But there was something missing, wasn't there? There was
in
a
terms
bit
of the fluidity and
camaraderie
movement, and the fourth goal today. That was what we were talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
The
Rather
movement,
than the goals are
interchange of
coming.
play. Yeah. The goals were still coming, but it just wasn't as fluid as it was last
But
season.
Salah, do you know what? Okay, so go. But what I saw today is, and he's done it a couple of times this season. He rallies against himself. He can get angry with himself, slap his thigh because he missed. I'm like, chill out, bro. This is like in the first 2 games of the season. I'm like, you just come on,
but he's putting pressure on himself.
Yeah. But what he's doing now is, which I've seen it before, and I'm just putting it out there. I'm getting a bit nervous. You know when our big boys start to fly the coop and they go to Madrid and Barca.
Yeah.
With your Suarez's and stuff, and the Torreses, he went down to that scum Chelsea, but he left.
Yeah.
They start gesturing against their own teammates. Now today, Mane, there was a bit of a ricochet. Ball came to Mane, and he played a first-time pass. Right? I think it was obviously slightly overhit. I thought the goalie should also take credit, because the goalie's in goal and is staying off his line, and he looks at the body shape of a player you can anticipate. So it was obvious he was a player through. So he was off his line quick.
Yeah.
Salah and the goalie got there. The goalie got there first. Once Salah realised he can't get the ball, he actually jumped in the air in frustration and sort of like punched the air like
Yeah.
That can only be directed to his teammate.
Not really. No.
Well, that's the perception I'm getting. That's how I'm taking it.
That can be interpreted as he's beating himself up. He wants to score as many goals as possible. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean it was aimed.
Okay, how about this then? How about this?
You got another one.
Well, 2 seconds later, the ball came back to us anyway. And it came back to Salah, and he had his back to goal. And then he puts the Kenny Dalglish bumming defender to hold him off. Shout out to Kenny, yeah? And he put his foot on the ball to roll it. Mane stings past him. Give it. And he just held on to it. And then Mane turned around. This is all, you can see it. And basically shouted at him. And I was like, no, please God, no.
I'll tell you what, I'll be honest with you. I'm not, as a person who plays football, not at any great level, mind.
Don't be modest.
Do you know what I mean? Not at any great level, but as a person who plays football, for argument's sake today, playing football, our midfielder, he seemed to hold the ball forever and ever. I'd lay it into him from the left back position, lay it into him, I'd make the run forward, I'd be in a space and I wouldn't get it back, and then when the move would break down, I'd have a little go at him. I think that's just football.
I agree.
You get frustrated when you can see something that someone else doesn't see, or you expect to pass, and I just think that's just frustration. I think at the end of the game, you go inside the change room, you laugh and you joke. You say, "Oh, you should have passed that to me. Whatever." And then the person says, "Oh, sorry, I didn't see you," or gives you an explanation. I don't think I could read into it. The only other thing I'm thinking, Sini, is his body language for the Red Star game could be just like my attitude towards the goals going in. Indeed. He could just expect it.
Nice and easy, yeah.
And I think, really, if I'm being brutally honest and I kind of wipe any bullshit away, I don't care about body language if he's scoring. The only body language I'm interested in is the body language he strikes that ball with and making sure it hits the net.
Do you know what it is with Paul? He's thinking ahead. And he's thinking about Coutinho, he's thinking about Suarez, he's thinking about Torres. And when these guys started to play a little less for the team and more for themselves, and they saw the bigger picture and they saw the lights. And I don't want to mention Paul Merson's article about teams coming for him and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But I see.
I'm probably just getting a bit worried for nothing. But like I said earlier, football is not rocket science. It's easy, and also the psychology of football is very rudimentary and very obvious. And what agents do is they tell when they want to move, they tell their player, "Show your displeasure. Show your displeasure. Do this, do that." Do you know what I mean? Not saying it's happening. This is where my paranoia's coming in.
Well, we're right to be proud.
Yeah.
We've lost a lot of players, you know what I mean? I mean, on the radio the other day, they were saying, Suarez or Salah, do you know what I mean? And it's
That's
just
a good
like,
point,
oh,
yeah.
man, it's crazy. Like, to think we had that kind of talent, but, we're not going to waste minutes on players who didn't want to stay and fight for the cause.
Of course,
Yeah.
You know what
no,
I'm
it's
saying?
not. And he, I think, for Salah, now that he's come to our club, like all the others, he's now turned into a world-class star.
Yeah.
So then the arrogance comes with it.
Shout out to Klopp.
And that not celebrating, it, again, I think can be part of the arrogance. Balotelli used to say that he doesn't celebrate because it's his job scoring goals. He said, does the postman celebrate when he puts 11?
Wicked bar.
He celebrates. And it's true.
And those Italian racists said they weren't Italian. Ain't that an Italian quote?
Yeah, that exactly.
Ain't that Italian quote?
That's proper Italian. But you know what, Sini? Thanks for reminding me of that, because that's actually true. See, I don't celebrate when I finish my work. Do you know what I mean? Well,
No.
I do when it's 5 o'clock. It's time to go home. You know what I mean? When I finish the job, I don't. So true. Maybe we are reading too much into it. But you know what? When it's all said and done, for me, he's here. He's scoring goals. He's still getting in the right position, despite what the reports are
2 assists today.
And today he
He's
looked like his old self. He
Yeah,
really
he
did.
did. Well, it started at Red Star. It started at Red Star. Do you know what I mean?
He's so fast, and he's every check ball over the top, he win it.
Watch out for next week. If he bangs against Arsenal, watch his body language.
You spoke a couple of quid on that. Maybe a brace and a win.
Yeah. Watch his body language next week. It's a big game.
I'm going to that.
Good. Sini will be in the house. Sini will be in the house. We're going to be live from Emirates, yeah? You're going to do
We certainly are. We certainly are.
All right, well, cool.
Cool.
Don't forget, people, do you know what I mean? You can follow us on Instagram, you know what I'm saying? Anfield_South1. You can follow us on Twitter as well, Anfield_South, at Anfield South, sorry, my bad. So, you know what I mean? Follow the socials and look out for the live videos and pictures and stuff. Anyway, one last thing before we wrap this up and head home. Joe Gomez. We all know he's been absolutely amazing, and I think it's unanimous when I say we love him. He's in contract talks. The kind of question's kind of rhetorical, because does he deserve a new contract?
Given what he wants.
Yeah.
Let's talk about where he should be. What's the word? Parity. Where should he be going? Where should he be asking, and where do you think Liverpool going to offer him?
That's true. That's a good question. I mean, what's Virgil on? What's Virgil?
But Virgil came on 170.
No, that's not the point. It's not the point. I'm just asking. Virgil's on
170.
And you got Lovren on
100.
Didn't Lovren get a new one?
No, that is his new one.
Okay.
And Joe's on 25. But he came as a young player from Charlton. It's the same contract as
That's
well.
a 150.
Oh, Yeller, as Warren would call him.
I don't know. I think
he personally,
It's a hard one.
I think he's a humble youth, you know.
He's definitely a humble youth, and it's a big jump, yeah. And there's been a lot made on certain radio stations about young players with a lot of money at a young age, because
your Luke Shaws and people like that.
Great power comes great responsibility, yada yada yada. But if I'm honest, I'm happy to see him on 100k.
Really, straight away, no increment, like from 25 to 100.
And you know what, right? As I've said that, and you said that, I get why you'd increment it, because you don't want him to think he's made it and then takes his foot off the gas. But if they took it there and he went to 100k, I couldn't be mad.
Because money can mash up your humility one time like that,
and relationships as well.
Yeah, it can.
Like if the agent goes and asks for 100, Klopp might be like, "What?
Yeah.
Joe, you're young."
Lord.
But should your age really matter? Because if you're old enough to play, then you're old enough to get paid.
You know what, Sini?
You can't say to a man, guess what, you're good enough to do this for me, but you ain't good enough to get the money.
But mate, it's a dressing room thing as well. Do you know what I mean?
But this is the question. Is it deserved? Is it a contract extension? Is deserved?
Okay.
The raise is deserved, but is that money deserved? Is Joe Gomez paying like 100k?
Do you know what? You got to put it in perspective. He played 10 games this season. He started the season amazingly. He had a few injuries last season. When he came to Liverpool, he was brilliant as well. In between that, 2 serious knee injuries. Yeah, and he come to this season fresh with no World Cup, a full pre-season, and he's doing well. I think.
Do you remember when we saw him on crutches?
Yeah, mad. And I think we need to increment that pay rise realistically and incentivize it as well. So he's on 25 now. You can bump him up to, your 50, 60, 70 with the promise of an extension, I don't know, at the end of this season or a review at the end of the season.
Yeah.
I don't think you can jump straight from 25 to 100 within...
That's a hell of a markup.
within the remits of our dressing room as well. You know what I mean? Lovren, do you remember when Lovren got that? Do you think, bro?
What I was going to say is, like, this is probably quite... if he was a striker, would we be having this?
Probably not.
If he banged 12 in 10 or 10 in 10, and he was, Joe Gomez, our brother, you know what I mean?
Right,
with swag.
You're right.
We would have been thinking about it.
We're measuring it differently. Obviously, we're measuring clean sheets here, and it's a different currency, isn't it?
Sure.
But I still feel that 100 is too much for him. I think you need to mark it up bit by bit.
I think an interesting point though is that we seem to be doing contract signings now with no buyout clauses. So I think with the fact that we're trying to do that, you got to give a player something to want to stay, to know that he hasn't got a way out.
True.
And with Gomez, the way that is looking with Gomez, he looks the real deal as far as I'm concerned. It's the first time that we actually seen him play regularly in his position, his preferred position, and everybody's loving it. You can't get enough of it. Even if Virgil's not having the greatest game, Gomez has been solid. Do you know what I mean? And I want to see it consistently. But if you're going to say to him, look, I want you to stay here and I'm going to give you a little bit of money, of course it means the Sharks come roaming, because they're not going to. If you're not going to pay him, someone else will.
And he's a continental type
and you're
of player,
saying to me, he ain't got a way out. You're saying sign the contract for less money than what you can get anywhere else, and you're going to have to stay because of this contract.
Yeah.
There's no way out.
That's a lot to take. See,
that's an interesting angle, Sini.
It's a good angle. It's a good angle. But point being, would you be mad if they offered him 100k?
Hell no.
No, I wouldn't be
mad.
I wouldn't be mad. I just think it would be a bit much, and it would worry me about Mane, because all of our players are getting new contracts, and we're still not hearing nothing about Mane. And these contracts are done quickly, on the quiet, and we're just
there
told
There was a tweet from James Pearce not long ago, saying that don't worry about it. I'll be worried at the end of at the start of next season if it hadn't been signed by then.
So there's still enough time.
It's a chilled thing, I think.
I think Gomez one's coming up because obviously with the hype around him and everything, I think they're just thinking you deserve a raise.
It's also the willingness to negotiate as well, I think.
Yeah, Mane might not be interested in negotiating right now. He might be taking time to think.
Luckily with Klopp is the man. Klopp for me is the best attacking coach in the world, right? And I'm not too worried about the forwards. Even Salah. He'll just find another one. Yeah, it's just, I think he just does patterns of play all day.
Do you know what, Paul? And do you know what? To go back to the beginning when we were talking about when you were saying on the team sheet that you never know where anyone's going to be playing. That's because the way Klopp drills the team in training, everybody knows every position on the pitch. Yeah. You see what I mean? So it doesn't matter where you are
on the team sheet. Yeah,
on the team sheet, if I find myself here, then I need to be doing this and vice versa. But yeah, I agree with you with the Klopp and best attacking coach in the world.
He is, hands down.
And Liverpool, as a club, we've been used to finding the next talent for so long.
It's exciting.
From Rush days to Fowler to Owen, to Torres to Suarez. You know what I mean? Now Salah, we always managed to dig one out, and you know what? I hope that gets picked up on the podcast. Let's touch wood. It continues. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Oh yeah. But it's been positive. You know what? That's one thing I did forget while we were talking about today's game. Man of the match.
Ooh.
What are you thinking?
Salah. It's a difficult one, but I think I'm gonna have to go for Salah.
Yeah.
Just because of all the stick he's taken, the fact that he's come back into form. He got 2 assists and a goal today, and his overall touch and performance just looked like the old Salah. Forget about his body language, Paul. I'm not on it. But he's scoring. And he's playing like himself again. And that's the there you go, Sini. That's the real body language I want to hear. I'm not going to worry about Sharks or other teams looking for him right now. Is what's important.
Yeah.
And we needed him back in form, and with Mane in form as well. Hey. When Firms gets back in, the league better mine out,
You same, Sini. You're man of the match for today?
Yeah, I think it's unanimous, mate.
Yeah?
I think it's unanimous. Full house.
Yeah, Salah. Full game, Salah.
Full house.
You know what?
Mohamed Salah.
You know what, right? Salah, man of the match, definitely. But you know what? I have to go back to Wednesday as well, and I have to give a man of the match to Shaqiri for his performance. It was good, man. Good to see, man. 12 million. Wow. Just
Bargain.
wow. Just wow.
Even Fabinho.
He's
25 years old. I mean, going forward, 25 years, 39 million.
Yeah, he's not a bad price.
Another position that we've never really filled.
Yeah, not a bad
since what?
Have we found our captain?
Mascherano?
Have we found our what's his called? Who's played for Chelsea? Forgot his name now.
Makalele.
Yeah, we found our Makalele.
Looks like it.
Yeah.
Early days, but yeah.
Yeah, early days, but so far so good.
Hopefully so.
All right then, boys. It's been emotional, mate. Do you know what I mean? I've been your host, Slim. Today we've had Paul with us.
Pleasure speaking to you people.
Sini.
Thank you, people.
And our man on the button, Sam.
Yes, till next time, peeps.
Guys, don't forget, make sure you follow us on Instagram, Anfield_South1. Yeah? Follow us on Twitter @South Anfield. Come on, get that following, you know what I mean? Follow. Till next time, peeps.
Yeah, but we got the side.
Well, I came to England looking for fight. So come on, Kenny man, give us a gun. Cause I've sat on the bench, payment dues my fees. I'm very big down under with my wife disagrees.
They've won the league, bigger stars than Dallas. They've got more silver than Buckingham Palace. No one knows quite what to expect when the red machine's in full effect. Well, Steve McMahon sure can rap. It's about time he had an England